The wealthiest people across the world buy, leverage, and mitigate debt as a means of building wealth. There are three important things that you should understand about the debt market. One, it's important for you to understand the debt portfolios that exist. Two, it's important for you to understand the pre-qualification criteria to access the debt market. And once you would have accessed the debt market, three, it's important for you to understand the debt mitigation strategies. Today, I am now at the last tail of the five-step series I introduced a few days ago. And that five-step series entitled Five Steps to Buy, Leverage, and Mitigate Debt. Today, it's about the nuts and bolts. It's all about how you buy, leverage, and mitigate. I'm going to go deep into that concept today. I will begin by saying that one of the first things for you to understand about the debt capital market and how you go about to buy the debt is to first of all understand what we call the portfolios. In the debt capital market, you're going to find capital portfolios like BLOC, which is a business equity line of credit. You will also find a business credit. And mind you, there's a major difference between the BLOC and the business loan. One is calculated at simple interest, and the other is calculated at compounded interest. And we'll get into all of those details in another broadcast. Among the portfolio, you would also find HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit, and you would also find home loan as part of the portfolio. Again, there are major differences between a HELOC and the home mortgage. You would also find things like overdraft and credit card. Why is it so important to understand these portfolios? Because it is only by understanding the portfolio of credit that are available to you, which will allow you to leverage the platform as a means of either accessing, leveraging, or mitigating debt. Before I come to the end of this program, you will certainly get a much clearer understanding of what I'm talking about. So we talk a little bit about some of the portfolios that exist within the debt, the DCM. Now let's talk briefly about the pre-qualification criteria. To access the debt capital market is not automatic. There is something that we call the pre-qualification criteria. And those pre-qualification criteria relates to things like balance sheet, cash flow, credit score, age do matter. Having collateral will never hurt. If you're going for the business loan, you will also need to look at things like financial projections, historical financial data, and having your business strategic plan. All of this play a significant role in influencing the financial institution, whether they should support you or not support you. And knowing these things, long before you access the debt market, are things that you should pay careful attention to. The third and very important next steps is what we call the debt mitigation processes. And this is where we find many persons across the world, entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs, they tend to take this particular part for granted. Now let's talk about that a little bit. Now let us suppose that you reach all of the pre-qualification criteria and you're now able to access the debt capital market. So you access a debt of $10 million. The $10 million is called the principal balance. It's important for you to recognize that there will be interest attached to that debt. So for example, you take a debt of $10 million. The debt is called the principal balance. You're paying 10% interest over the life cycle of 20 years. What all of this means in terms of the analytics. Going another step further, it's important for you to also understand something that we call the debt breakdown cost. Now let's look at this. You take a debt of $10 million, interest rate 10%, life cycle 20 years. You might be taking this debt for a home mortgage, or you may be taking the debt for, let's suppose, a business loan. The breakdown is going to be on a monthly basis. You will expect it to pay at least $83.5 thousand, $83,500. On a yearly basis, you're going to be paying approximately $1,002,000. Now, over the debt life cycle, the debt life cycle cost, you will be paying $20 million. In fact, you'll be paying $20,040,000. Now, pay close attention. Over the debt life cycle, which is 20 years, you will be paying back $20,040,000. Remember, the principal balance is $10 million. The interest rate over the life cycle is $10,040,000. Now, I don't want to say if that is good or if that is bad. That is very subjective, taking into consideration inflation and all of those other factors in relation to debt. As you come into our masterclass and as we start to do the one-on-one and as you become a client of us, we walk you through this entire process. Now, the analysis is perhaps the beginning and the end where most analysis will end. For us, we go a little deeper than this. We have just looked at some of the harsh realities associated with borrowing from the debt capital market. The question I want to ask, is there a way to bring down the interest rate? And the answer is yes. This has everything to do with you understanding how to mitigate the debt life cycle. And once you mitigate the debt life cycle, you're in a much better position of strength to mitigate the debt cost. It's not the easiest thing to accomplish. It's legally available to you, but it's important that you understand how to mitigate the process. There are things that you call velocity banking, and if you understand velocity banking and leverage velocity banking techniques to the debt portfolio, the possibility exists that you can bring down the debt life cycle, bring down the debt cost, and you can save hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars over the life cycle of that debt. The other system that we use at Global Capital Inc. is a system that we call performing asset debt leverage. Now, performing assets are assets that pays you. We invest in performing asset that pays you 3 times. One, you're able to get daily, weekly, and monthly cash flow from the asset. You're able to get appreciation from the asset. You're able to get equity leverage because of the appreciation. And all 3 can be leveraged against your debt portfolio if you know exactly what you're doing. The other system that we use is called land banking. Well, land banking simply gives you asset appreciation. And the asset appreciation, it is now able to give you capital leverage. Capital leverage can be used to mitigate the debt. Again, if you understand what you're doing. Some of the systems that we use is wholesale debt leverage, smart capital debt leverage, and asset equity debt leverage, just to name a few. The point that I want to make is that when you understand these systems, these debt mitigation tools, they literally put you in a position to manage your debt portfolio in a manner that allows you to save hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars on your debt portfolio. The example that we have just looked at, you take a debt of $10 million, the interest rate on that debt is 10% over the life cycle of 20 years. The total debt cost is $10 million. The total amount that you will be obligated to pay back over the life cycle of that debt is $20,040,000. The question is, can you reduce that? Yes, you can. Perhaps by a few $1,000,000 if you know exactly the right debt tools to apply. So today we look at the final episode of the 5 steps to buy, leverage, and mitigate debt. Today we look at the debt mitigation strategies. So I trust that you would have enjoyed today's program. I do look forward to bringing you more of this information in the event that you need more, in the event that you might have taken out a corporate debt or taken out a personal debt for your home mortgage, and you need to know more about our systems. I want to encourage you to feel free to reach out to us. Most of our consultations are free, and we'll be happy to work with you. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the multiple best-selling author for several books, including Billionaire Codes and Manager's Toolkit. My new book titled 10X Branding and Marketing, The Psychology of Doing Business is going to be out very soon. So I encourage you to like, subscribe, and share this podcast once you find it to be interesting. I would totally appreciate your support to subscribe and share, to enabling us to reach more people so we can get our content across to them. Again, remember we're in a period of COVID-19, so I want to encourage you to be smart, be safe, protect yourself, and do whatever it takes to boost your immune system. Be blessed and see you in the next broadcast.